What up? I'm going to take a look at how I made Wag the Dog, and this song was actually a huge labor of love. It involves 3 Logic files. The first one is with fake drums and where I wrote and produced most of the song. The second one is with the real drums, and the third and final mix file is with fully mixed out drum stems from another mix engineer, Brian Ray, who has a lot of experience mixing real drums. So I kind of wanted him to take a crack at it. You know, there's a part in the song where I say, kill yourself. I'm not going to say who it's about. And no, it's not a member of any government. It's up to your interpretation. You know, you take from this what you think it could be, and you run with it. If you know how I feel about certain people in the context of some of the lyrics in the song, I feel like you can figure out who it's about. Okay, so let's get into this first file. There is so much happening here, but I want you to note that the process for making this song is A, a chord progression, B, a riff, and then C is the general structure of the song and how it builds and develops. It basically starts small and explodes, and then it compresses back down and then builds up again and then explodes again at the end. It is in fact a pretty simple structure, but because of the way I recorded it and the way it's produced, it does in fact read as a very complicated song. Let's start with the chord progression. The first time I came up with this was on acoustic guitar. So that is just this. B, C sharp, A flat. That is the verse, and for the most part, that is also the chorus. So that was the first thing I laid down, and I laid it over this break. And I actually recorded the acoustic guitar on my iPhone. I took the break, I cut out the low end, and then I added a fake kick and fake snare over it. Yeah, together it sounds pretty nice. I originally did play bass throughout this entire song, but then later I sent it to my friend Tori, who's done bass for me on a lot of songs, and he ended up playing the main bass. So the original bass line was me playing this. That's shitty and not as cool, but Tori came up with something way better. Just so saucy. So that is the second part of the verse where the bass comes in and then you hear like the full sort of song building and everything. Originally there was this. That doesn't happen in the verse. So it's just this. Then we get into this breakdown section. This section is just basically a riff. Right? This is a guitar riff that you would hear in an Arctic Monkeys song or in any band song. And all I had to do was write this riff and know that I wanted to transition from this directly into the chorus. So this is a 4-bar riff. That's it. And I basically did 2 guitars, I think. I think there's also actually a falsetto guitar. So over that is the kill yourself. That's when that happens. And the drums for this part obviously change. It's from the same sample pack, but then I had to pull in some fills. So that transitions into the chorus. Then we pretty much get into the same chord progression here. The only difference here is that it's the same chord progression, but it gets very heavy. And so we're going from acoustic to just this fucking explosion of sound. And also I'm singing at a much higher pitch. Here's where we do something different. The second half of the hook, right? My tail can wag the dog and I'm no astronaut. I knew that I couldn't just keep the drums the same, or I couldn't just keep the guitar the same. I made the random decision to go halftime in the middle here. So it goes from this which allows it to kind of like open up, and it's like there's no really like safe for work way to say this, but it's a climax. You want the listener to come, jerking the audience off up until it explodes right here. And here's something interesting happens. So the chorus chords are still the same, right? They're still, But the bass on the second half, it does this. It goes E, F sharp, A flat. A tonal shift that was very necessary right there. Okay, and then we also added a second guitar in this second half of the hook that is doing this. This is close to pretty much what I did on the first file, especially throughout the rest of the song. I wrote the whole song like this with the fake drums. Let's open the second file and get further into the song so I can show you how I finished my tracking and my recording. Drop a comment if you fuck with my wallpaper. Okay, here's the second file. This is where I recorded final vocals over the song after recording all the demo vocals on the first file.
My tail can't wag the dog, the Tesla seat so soft.
Also on the original file, I had an intro for this song. In the final version, I decided, no, we just start with the acoustic. We just go, my tail can't wag the dog, and just get going. So here are Garrett's drums that he played. So here are the final re-recorded hook vocals over here.
I don't wanna make it, man. The tail can't wag the dog, and I'm no astronaut.
My younger sibling did actually write this entire hook. I came up with parts of the melody, but they wrote the entire thing. They also wrote this part over here, the pre-chorus.
There ain't in between where we don't hate our guts.
After the first hook, there's a little break right here. So the little break there is what the intro was in the original song. In the second verse, it is pretty much the same structurally, but there's a beatbox element that happens here, which is just me beatboxing. There's only 3 vocal tracks here. There's a main lead, which is I got a different type of na 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 na. And then there is an octave up on the backup vocals, which do this. And then we have, a few delays here and there. There's really not much happening musically that's different here. It's just the writing is different, right? In the first verse, we had basically a rap verse, and the second verse is more of a singing verse with a pre-chorus in it. So when we hit the pre-chorus here, it does feel very different, even though instrumentally it's the same.
Is there an in between where we don't hate our guts?
The don't hold your breath break is also exactly the same.
Kill yourself. That's enough. I don't wanna find out when.
So we added these falsetto harmonies on the second half of the second chorus, which just adds some extra atmosphere in the back right here. That was hard for me to hit. Finally, to end the song, we have a guitar solo. I wrote and played this guitar solo. I'm very proud of it. So super cool. Obviously, it's done in parts because I'm not, Stevie Ray Vaughan. There's also 2 extra guitar elements added to the solo part when I do this. So this is the real final climax. This is when you really come, man. Super simple, but it adds so much when you listen to it in context. You don't notice these things until you hear them isolated, and then you're like, okay, that part does feel a little different. It's best that you almost don't even know it's there until one day you maybe smoke too much weed and then you listen to the song and you're like, whoa, what's that? And so that's pretty much the entire song, guys. It was all in the writing. Shout out to my younger sibling who killed that. To close this out, let's open up the final file, which is Brian's mix. This is Brian's mix. I think there was 1 or 2 things added when all these stems were pulled in from Brian.
Got no home, I don't want to hear your problems. Yeah, my therapist sound arrogant.
This wasn't added until the entire song was done. And it was like, okay, we need something there that gives you the idea like, okay, this song is going to start changing. I know we added this back in the break. And I did add a final ad lib as well. Just hooting and hollering. That's all I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, this song was really a huge team effort, you know? I hired a different mix engineer. I hired a real drummer to play real drums over it. A younger sibling wrote half the song. And then I also hired a bass player to play bass all over it. So this is 5 different people were involved in this. And I think even more if I count certain people I consulted for mix advice and what harmonies I should do where. And the reason why that I don't want to go into too much depth about this song is because it truly is a spectacle of writing. And very rarely do I have that in my music where this song relies so heavily on how well it's written. And this is not a series about how I write the song. It would be way more abstract and random. To me, this is a very powerful song, message-wise. If you haven't seen the movie Wag The Dog, go watch it. It's fantastic. The title of the song is an ode to that movie, and my mother showed me that movie. So really kind of a family affair occurring on this track. If you find out who I'm so mad at, let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys next week.